Okay, so there's a question about problem 3.ir.47. That's integrated review 47 in chapter 3. Okay, so let me show you how it's done. And I'm going to switch to whiteboard, and I'm also going to put my computer flat on the table, and so some of you may see my ceiling lights. I'm switch to the whiteboard here. Okay, so the problem goes summation 3i plus 2 with the little I equals 1 in the bottom, 4 on top like that. And what those little numbers mean is that you start with I equals 1 and you end with I equals 4. So the 1 at the bottom means that's where we're starting, and the 4 on top means we're gonna climbing from 1 all the way up to 4. Well, what are we doing with what is it about I equals 1 through I equals 4? It's about the 3i plus 2. So the summation symbol says we're adding the quantity 3i plus 2, starting with I equals 1 and ending with I equals 4. So 3i plus 2 starting with I equals 1. And next is I equals 2, I equals 3, and I equals 4, and that's where we end. So if the number weren't 4, but if it were like 10, we'd keep on going 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? But right now it's starting from I equals 1 to I equals 4, and the quantity we're working with is 3i plus 2. So at I equals 1, we're looking at 3 times 1 plus 2. At I equals 2, we're looking at 3 times 2 plus 2. I equals 3, we're looking at 3 times 3 plus 2, etc. So I is like the variable here, and it changes each time. So by the time I equals 4, we're looking at 3 times 4 plus 2. So the I changes, and so the 3i plus 2 also changes. It's starting with 3 times 1 plus 2, that's 5. And then becomes 3 times 2 plus 2, that's 8. Then 11 and 14. Okay, so the little numbers 1 and 4 means you're plugging in numbers starting with 1 and then keep going until you end up at 4. And finally, what are we doing? We're doing this sigma symbol, and that sigma symbol means to add. So that means we're adding 5 plus 8 plus 11 plus 14. And I believe that's 38, isn't it? 11 plus 14 is 25, plus 5 is 30, plus 8 is 38. Okay, so that's the answer. So that's what the symbols mean, and this is a question that reviews algebra. For those of you who have seen the sigma symbol in algebra, it's not vital for this class. If you happen not to quite get it for this class, you can still do okay. We sort of need it a little bit for chapter 3, and we will need it again later in chapter 11. And a couple times in between also, for example, in chapter 4, when we're doing expected value, we'll need this kind of computation again. But there are also ways to do this with a calculator and all that. So it's not that vital, but it is kind of needed. All right. Okay, so let me close out of here. And if you have any question, go ahead and ask me on the discussion board.